Episode 24. Bit of a different one tonight because I don't have a guest in the studio, Ryan. We're remote. A couple of 100 miles over the sea. Tonight we've got Si from the Football Hub. Welcome to you, Si.
You doing me? Cheers, thanks for having us.
No worries at all, mate. Belfast, we're just speaking about that just now. Just outside Belfast, you're coming from tonight. But as people are listening to this, they'll not hear a Belfast accent from you. They'll hear a Scottish accent. So I suppose it kind of takes us back to my first question is always the same, Si. And you can give us a little bit about your accent and your background from the first question. How good a football player were you as a kid?
That's a loaded question. So I was very good when I was younger. I started in goals when I was playing in Dumfries. I was goalkeeper. Just playing for sort of school teams, local clubs and stuff. I really enjoyed it, and then moved from Dumfries up to Inverness. And it was goalkeeper is one of those positions in it where if there's a goalkeeper in the team, you're stuck or you're sharing minutes. And I'd always been quick, so I sort of moved. When we moved to Inverness, I moved out onto the wing. Did very well, sort of worked through the high school teams and everything, and actually ended up getting scouted out to go and do trials for Buckie Thistle. They sort of pulled me out from like school match and said, "We'd love you to come down and try out." And so I must have been all right enough at school level, and then went to the Cali trials and absolutely hated it. It was one of those experiences where everyone just wanted to hog the ball and they wanted to show what they could do and obviously impress the scouts or the coaches or whatever, and it just wasn't for me and put me off, and I never really looked back. I suppose I actually took quite a big break from football after that. Obviously not left some damage, like I was still interested, but didn't play for a wee while after that. Sort of fell out of love with the game for a bit, but it's a lot harder to get it back into it once you've had that break. So I was very good as a kid, and then not so much as an adult, I suppose.
What kind of age did you kind of fall away from it, Si? Just out of interest.
It was probably about 17, 18. You start working and drinking and met the wife and all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of, I had kids quite early, so quite young. And so life just sort of takes over, I think, doesn't it? And then
it does.
Got back into it probably about 5 or 6 years later, maybe. Started playing for like work teams and five-a-side and everything, and sort of got back into the swing of playing. Yeah,
brilliant, mate. So kind of still sticking with when you were younger, did you have a football idol growing up?
So as a goalkeeper, I suppose, and watching the sort of class of '92 United, Peter Schmeichel, the Great Dane, was always my idol. He was just, as a goalkeeper, you don't get anyone better than that. So he was always posters on the wall, all that kind of stuff. Like
scary man as well. Scary man. I remember just him absolutely screaming at players, like, and I don't know if he done that to make a point, like to show that he was the big guy and he was in charge. And sometimes the players maybe didn't warrant needing a telling like that. But that's kind of my last memory. And also him kind of spread eagling himself, just like the massive frame.
Just make as big as he can.
Yeah, and it's always, I don't know about you guys, like Ryan, you'll be able to give a better answer than this. It's always that green kit, I imagine him in.
It's
like
I had that as a kid as well, and I can't find it for the life of me. Like it'll be in like an attic somewhere. Like, but
that'll be £200 on Vinted these days.
My first memory of him. You're saying you're a Villa fan. My first memory of him was, I think he scored a volley, and I think it was Aston Villa he was playing for.
That was
my first time I seen him.
Yeah, I remember that. He'd scored quite a few goals in his career off the top of my head.
I used to love it. He used to come out at the box last couple of minutes for a corner and stuff, didn't he? And I just thought that was fantastic. Never had the bottle to do it myself, but
that's missing from today's game. I think a wee bit of erratic goalie. Mind you, the high line that some teams play these days are as well playing on the edge of the box. You know, like Man City's Ederson's playing on the halfway line at some points.
Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it? Like, they've become the new. I know they say sweeper keeper, don't they? But it's gone to a different level. Like they're just part of the back line now, effectively. Like it's. The height they get, it's just unbelievable.
Well, I don't coach a back four. I play with a back four, but I coach a back five, and I always include my goalkeeper as my back five. And You know, it's much easier to shape with 11 players than it is with 10, you know, because
Yeah.
you know yourself, Si, when you're trying to do shaping, the more players, the better. You can't do a shaping session with less than 11 players. You know, it doesn't work. Doesn't really work.
Absolutely.
So with kind of moving out to wing, did you have anyone else that kind of stuck out when you were playing football? I'm thinking of the Man United team. You've got Beckham, you've got Giggs, you've got Ronaldo, you've got, well, maybe a bit late for Ronaldo, but you've got all these kind of young, you mentioned York and Cole, these kind of players. Was there anyone outfield that stuck out from kind of that era for you, or is there anyone out with Man United even?
I think Scholesy was probably the biggest influence, wasn't he? Like, just his range of passing and his vision of the game and stuff was just different gravy. And even now, some of the best in the world sort of mention him as being one of the greatest and stuff, and the best that they've played against. So I think he's got to be in there, isn't he? He's got to be in that conversation. I always like Bex. I know he had a hard time, but as sort of moving and playing out on the wing and everything, Beckham was always like, his free kicks and stuff, just as a kid watching that, was just unbelievable. And you'd go out in the field and you'd try and emulate him and replicate what he was doing on the pitch. Like,
Yep. Even down to the boots. I wanted the Predators. You know, everyone wanted a pair of Predators, and they had to be the white ones with the black bits and things. They're about 200 quid on eBay these days. They're unbelievable.
Yeah. I think that was part of the problem, wasn't it? He was a fashion idol as well as a winger for United. Like, so.
Yeah, I remember, I wasn't one myself, but so many kids going to school with Mohicans and just the
skinhead,
ridiculous haircuts because David Beckham had it. Okay, what's your first World Cup memories, Si? I always like one of my favourite questions about this is because I always feel like in any person's life, their first World Cups, if they're into football, it's normally the kick-off of it. It's normally the birth of where their love of football begins, because I don't mind me being cheeky here. So how old are you?
35.
35. So you're within 2 years of me. We've got, and my kick-off of my football was 98 World Cup. I don't really remember much football before it and things like that. So what's your first World Cup memories, mate?
So that 2 years is within the 4-year window of the World Cup. So I'm going to go France 98 as well. But I suppose more specifically that Brazil team was just unbelievable. I remember Scotland going out and I can't remember who scored it now, but they got a goal against
John
Brazil
Collins.
in like the group stages, and
John Collins,
and it was. I was never a big fan of international football, and even now, like I'll watch Scotland and stuff, but I don't watch, even when the Euros, when Scotland went out the group games, I sort of lost interest. But like, I wouldn't watch every game. I'm not an avid sort of, which I suppose is quite strange for a football fan. I would watch more based on the players, or if there's like, I would watch Portugal because Fernandes is playing and Ronaldo's playing and stuff, little bits and pieces like that. But World Cup wise, France 98 was definitely the one, I think.
I think it was almost, it was the birth at R9 as well. You know, it was his first one on the stage. One of your players that you actually took out your 11 was Zinedine Zidane, and he's my standout player from that World Cup. He's my favourite player of all time, bar Henrik Larsson. I have to throw that a little.
You've got to say that as a hook, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But aside from any Celtic player, Zinedine Zidane was my favourite, and that's my memory. 98 World Cup, that was the birth of him. Well, he'd been about for a good bit before that, because I'm pretty sure he's got a Ballon d'Or before the 98 World Cup. 97 possibly with Juventus.
Yeah, maybe,
Don't hold me to that.
I know, I think it was before. Yeah,
I'm sure he got 97.
My memory with facts and dates is
off the top of my head. I think he got Ballon d'Or 97, or it was 98, and he moved to Real Madrid on the back of the Ballon d'Or win. And everyone thinks as well that he didn't actually do that well when he went to Real Madrid, considering the team he had around him. You know, they won a couple of leagues and things, but they didn't go out and dominate for being a Figo, Carlos, R9, David Beckham, Guti, Hierro, Salgado, Casillas. I could go on forever for that team. They're just world 11. Okay, let's get a wee bit into your coaching, Si. I want to know how you got involved in coaching initially, because going through your videos, and we'll speak about them later on, you're a very good coach. Just on a visual and my representation of watching you, you're quite spot on with your things, and I've used a lot of your drills in my own sessions and things like that. So how did you get on? How did you get into coaching?
So I basically started. It was my wee son played. He started at first, and he actually, you'll not like this, but he went to a Rangers academy. They don't have Celtic academies over here that much, so he went to a Rangers academy, and he sort of played for a little bit. But he was never really that interested. And then my daughter joined, and I was just stood watching. It was like a big academy. There was like 100 kids down on a night, and it was just wee groups of kids playing. And I basically got plucked from the sidelines by the secretary of the club at the time, and says, "Look, you're here every week anyway. Why not get involved?" And that was it. Basically, I sort of shadowed somebody for about a week, and then got stitched up with that. Just doing a little bit of coaching for the first year of it, and then the next year that was me. I was sort of running that academy piece and stuff for them. Sort of got thrown straight in at the deep end, so spent 12 months kind of just finding my feet coaching. And it's all games and bit of fun at that age, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Herding cats is, I always refer to it as, it's like herding cats, and it is sometimes at that age, but as long as they're all coming back and they're enjoying themselves and they're building that love for the game. And I think that's where it all started for me, was just the enjoyment that you can see on their faces. And it was just from that one conversation, the secretary coming and saying, "You're here anyway."
Yeah.
That was me hooked. Like,
it is. It's a little bit like a bug, isn't it? You get involved and you're like, I quite like this. Yeah.
It just gets worse and worse.
It does. And you end up, do you find yourself, I was at a point about 6 months ago where you're coaching too many clubs and kids and things like that, and you just don't know how to fit it all in, and you maybe overwhelm yourself sometimes with it. Do you find that?
I think you do a wee bit. I mean, I would coach every hour of the day if I could. If the wife would let me, it's probably the biggest impact. So I think you've got to balance it, haven't you? You've got to balance work and committing to football and the hours that you put in, and planning things, and so it eats up a lot of time. But I suppose that's the dream in it, is to be able to just do that and only that, and really concentrate on it. I would take on as many teams as I could, but I think you can only spread yourself so far, can't you? So
yeah, you want to. I've found myself that, like, when I spread myself too much, I wasn't be able to give the kind of impact and the effort I wanted to all the groups, whereas now that I've kind of reined it in a little bit, I'm be able to give maximum effort to all my groups, and I'm a bit less burnt out by it and things,
I think that, like, from a personal perspective, it helps you personally, sort of thing, because you don't feel overstretched, but at the same time there'll be a sort of tangible impact on your sessions, where if you're putting the energy into planning one session, it's going to be a lot better than trying to plan 2 or 3 for different teams, because every team needs something slightly different, don't they? Whether it's different age groups or different ability levels. So
yeah,
I think if you do spread too far, then there's always going to be a drop in the standard, isn't there, in the level of coaching that you can provide.
That's it, mate. Are you on the licence programme? Where are you with your badges and things like that? Do you do anything like that, mate?
I finished my UEFA sort of late last year.
Congratulations.
There was scope to go sort of straight onto my B, but they basically advised and said, look, we recommend, like, it's doable. You could get all your assessments out of the way and all that kind of stuff and get straight onto it. But they kind of says, like, look, we would advise that you get sort of 6 to 12 months more experience under your belt coaching at that level, and then you step on and complete the B. So I'm looking at getting that wrapped up sort of this year.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Awesome. I'm just starting my coaching journey myself. I'm just starting my C license and things like that. So
How you find that?
A lot, quite a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it. That's the main thing, and it's not taking my love away from coaching. I've not found it monotonous. I've not found it like school and things like that. And I know a few guys who have done their licenses who are maybe not the most academic of guys who have just found it quite a bore, you know. Whereas I've found I've quite learned quite a lot, especially like I learned quite a lot, like my initial ones, my 1.1, my 1.2, 1.3, just very basic things that, like, even though I'm coaching the game every week or every day and I'm watching it every day, it's things you don't really notice, and it's little things that
or you've not thought about. And
I've noticed that coming from very experienced coaches, you know, guys that are, well, all your tutors are pretty much pro license guys, you know, so they know what they're speaking about. And yeah, it's been eye opening. But as I say, the main thing is I'm still enjoying it. I've just started my journey with Elgin City under 18s recently. Absolutely loving it. Working with a really experienced guy in Darren Main. Shout out to Darren Main because he's been great to me. And I'm just right now, what I'm doing is I'm remaining tight-lipped. I'm saying nothing, and I'm just watching. I'm picking up cones, and I'm just analysing everything. I'm making sure no footballs are going out of play, that kind of thing, and just gradually getting into that, because I've went from working with under 12s to under 18, so it's a huge jump up.
Absolutely.
So just now I've went from being quite a confident coach, being able to tell the kids probably better than half of them at football, to now, like, I'm not better than any of these guys at football, and half of them
think they know it. And,
half of them are bigger than me, you know, and it's quite scary. But no, it's not. It's I enjoy the challenge, and I look forward to it. Okay, this is probably my favourite question for you, because I know you're a deep thinker. I know you're quite analytical about your coaching. What's the 3 most important attributes for a coach, Si?
It's a great question, and I had to do a wee bit of thinking about this because I wanted some like 3 that kind of encompassed a little bit more than just what they were. So my first one, and probably my biggest one, is communication. And I don't just mean talk about communication on the pitch and being able to talk to each other, but I sort of want, like, I encompass like transparency with the parents of the kids, transparency with the players at where they're sitting in their sort of playing journey, and being a confident communicator. Like, so much that kind of comes into communication. I thought that was probably the biggest and best one to umbrella a lot of stuff.
Consistent communicator as well, you know, treating every kid the same, and almost having a blanket approach to it. Not a blanket approach to being unemotional and things, but, like, you know, you don't have favourites in that situation, and, you know, it's
absolutely
sorry, carry on, Si.
No. And then I had commitment, and I think it sort of goes back to what we were saying before, is you're obviously enjoying doing your courses and stuff, and I think you need to have that sort of, not just be committed to the team as in, like, you're not going to jump away and go to another club or whatever, but I think you need to be committed to putting on a good session or going the extra mile and planning stuff. And I think it's such a big thing, because I see a lot of coaches, and I've done videos and content and stuff about it, where they're sort of planning a session on the back of a fag packet in the car on the way to the session. And we've all been there, we've all done it, and I think as you get more experienced, it becomes a little bit easier. But I think you need to have that commitment to go the extra mile, and maybe even just 10, 15 minutes sort of sat at home where you actually think, right, what do I need to work on with the players tonight? What are we working towards? And it's not just in the car on the way to the game, sort of what am I doing tonight? Because the standard of your sessions goes through the roof just from that extra little bit of planning and a wee bit of thought going into it. And then my last one was knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that's probably, I don't mean it to sound like you can't gain knowledge. Absolutely, you can gain knowledge. I've seen some fantastic coaches that have never even played the game, but they can communicate their point across really well. And I think that's fantastic to see, because they can learn the game. Anyone can learn the game. Maybe not to the same detail as somebody that's played it for 20, 30 years. But I certainly think knowledge and having that background of the game and understanding of the game makes a huge difference to when you're trying to coach, even just down to breaking down little technical details and stuff. I think is so important. Like,
brilliant, mate. We're going to go to our first ad break. The Football Journals is partnering up with the Football Hub. Si over at the Football Hub does great work bringing coaches drills, seminars, thousands of hours worth of coaching resources, knowledge. His TikTok videos are great. You can find Si and the guys over at the Football Hub at the-football-hub.org. That's the-football-hub.org. Check them over. They're offering a 30-day free trial. Honestly, I've checked them out myself. I've been using a couple of the drills in my own sessions. The guys are unbelievable. Give them a shout. Si's always on offer as well to offer personal advice, as well as a 30-day free trial. They offer individual packages for clubs, players, coaches, clubs. They'll offer grassroots club plans, pro club plans, a lot. Give them a check out, guys. So, you probably just heard an advert. My little advert for the Football Hub. I'm going to let someone who knows a lot more about the Football Hub than me tell you a little bit about it. So I am right in thinking you are inventor, owner, founder. Yeah, everything, all the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's good, mate. I've been on it. I've been on your TikTok. I've been on your YouTube. I've been on your website. It's all good material. It's all good. As I said, I've used it in my sessions and things. Tell us a little bit about the Football Hub and how it started, Si.
So I think it all sort of stemmed from, I mean, we've all been there and you're sort of getting ready for the next session and you've no idea what to work on, or you maybe even do know what to work on, but you don't know how to work on it. And you'll dig through YouTube and you'll dig through websites, and there's so much free content out there that it becomes a little bit overwhelming sometimes. Or in my case, it was finding stuff and it was just a diagram of a football pitch with 2 million arrows on it, and it just, my brain can't process that much information. It was just so complicated when I looked at stuff, and I really wanted to provide something that just simplified the whole lot, where anybody could pick it up, look at it and go, I can do that. I can put that into practice on the pitch. Absolutely no bother. And it sort of started from, I created one and it did okay. And then I was like, do you know what? Even if it doesn't do well, I'll do it for myself because it helps me with planning my sessions and stuff anyway. And it just sort of took off and kind of sort of evolved from there, I suppose. But yeah, I was just trying to make life easier for myself and for everyone else, I suppose.
Yeah. No, it's unique because you'll be glad to know that, like, when I sometimes I'll get lazy and I've done 3 or 4 sessions that week or whatever, and I'll maybe just have a quick YouTube or a quick TikTok of, I need a finishing drill for tonight. Okay. So 9 times out of 10, your drills are the first ones that come up. You'll be glad to know the algorithm. Yeah, the algorithm is very good to you in that sense. And 9 times out of 10, yours is a drill that I use. So your videos, they're very how does it say it? TikTok friendly. That's the way I say it, because it's got that nice little American accent. It talks them through how to do the drill, and you've got the nice big subtitles that come up great. What's the program you use again? Because I've actually downloaded it on my phone, but I don't want to take my phone out just now.
So it's Tactical Pad.
That's the one.
It is free to use on your iPhone. It's a fantastic bit of kit. There's so much that you can do on there. It is available on like laptops and stuff as well, but I think it's like $19.99 or $24.99 or something for. I think you get like a free trial on a laptop, and then it's a paid version. But on your phone, it's absolutely free to do. You can do all the animations and everything that I've done on there. It does take time. I can say that from experience.
I take it the first one was difficult, and it's just kind of you've got used to how the app works and things, and now it's a bit of, well, I would not say a breeze, but it's a much easier.
Yeah, it's a much easier process. Even now, you'll have seen the drills maybe that I've done the last couple of days. There's a lot more fluid movements and stuff, and that's just the more you use it, the more you sort of learn and get used to it and everything. So even now, after I've been doing it for sort of 12 months now, so I'm still sort of finding little bits where I'm like, oh, that's brilliant, like, you can do that. So
Yeah, awesome. And your website, it's so. Let's go through a little bit about your package and things like that, because I think it's great. You offer 30 days free and everything. That'll be in the advert that I've just read out. But tell us a little bit about your package, what it entails. So just even your basic package, Si, because there is quite a lot to it when I looked into it, and I honestly think you're undercharging people, but for what it is, there's. When I look at the other coaching resources out there, like the Coach's Voice and things like that, their subscription's much, much more, and you're probably getting just as much content from yourself,
I think that's so. With pricing it, I wanted something that, because I looked at it as a coach and I thought, would I pay that price for, like, a lot of the grassroots community? It's volunteer work, and they don't necessarily want to sort of to pay towards something like that. And there was a little bit of sort of, I suppose, maybe imposter syndrome, like the Coach's Voice and stuff. I've got some sort of elite level professional coaches and stuff contributing on there. And I was like, I don't want to price it with that, because that's not what I'm offering. What I'm offering is grassroots experience and that side of it. But our sort of, my kind of the basic level is just the 30-day free trial. So you can kind of come on, try it, get a feel for things, see if it's worth it. And then it's just £5 a month. But that gives you access to everything. So everything that's on the platform, that £5 a month. And then the different sort of price levels are aimed at, if you wanted your club to sort of sign up for it, then you can get access. And it's a little bit discounted. So you can have 20 coaches on there, 30 coaches on there and stuff. So I did have somebody come in and ask about a pro package, and it's like, that's not, it's not something we offer. It's sort of a set price and you get access to the whole platform. There's no sort of hidden costs or added extras or any of that kind of stuff. The only bit that is sort of done separately is the 6-week pre-season program, which will be discounted sort of once the season's kicked in and everyone's kind of up and running, because nobody wants to buy a pre-season program halfway through the season. So
yeah. and it's also, it's not just coaching drills. You've got seminars, webinars. You says you're actually on hand yourself if people just need advice. I've also found that in your TikTok videos. You're quite happy. People comment, and your advice is always sound advice. I'll tell you that. But it's you're quite happy to. You give a lot of time out for free, is what I'm trying to say, mate.
Yeah, that's probably me just being too nice. Where there's a few where I've had messages, oh, how would you do this? Or you plan a session, and I think that's just part of trying to grow the platform and sort of build a positive brand that people know is there and will help. Is kind of giving that advice away for free, and it's a difficult conversation to have with people, to say, I'll help you, but you need to come and pay £5 a month sort of thing for it.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy. I'll talk to anyone about football and coaching. So I think it's a fine line between sort of offering a little bit of advice and help and just giving stuff away for free. So
brilliant. So you've heard it from the man himself. You've heard it from me. Give Si a check out on. Well, in fact, let you do your little plug just now, Si. So give us your socials, mate.
So the socials, if you search the Football Hub, the website's footballhub.org. And if you search the Football Hub on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, the whole shebang, we're on there. You'll find us. It's a bright orange football. You can't miss it. And then that will give you all of the content that we push onto our socials. And it's all just a little bit of an insight into the type of drills and everything that we do, and the type of content that you will find. Every now and then we'll give something away for free on the socials. It could be players' contracts, sent them out the other day. That's just the type of resources that we've got. We might give something like that away for free, just to kind of let people get a feel for what we're all about, really.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Really good and well done, honestly. And as I say, I follow your videos. I really enjoy them. Sorry, before we get on to the next question, one of the things I want to ask you about is your quotes. Do you have a favourite? Because there's quite a few crackers in there.
That's a great question.
One of my favourite ones. I might have misquoted this, but I think it's not always about taking the best shot. It's about taking the right shot. No, it's not always about making the best pass. It's about making the right pass. And I have used that quote 3 or 4 times in my sessions in the last few weeks, and it's so true. It's just little things like that you notice. Have you got anything that sticks out for yourself, mate?
No, I think I quite like. I'm really big on feedback, and I think I like all the ones about feedback and sort of. It doesn't always have to be feedback, but it needs to guide the player. Is probably kind of my philosophy on a lot of things. I see a lot of coaches around all clubs that they'll put a drill on and they'll just kind of let the drill do its thing, but there's not you can't expect a drill to do the coaching for you. And I think that's where feedback is so important. So the feedback ones are kind of, I would say, my favourites.
Yeah. No, okay. Check Si's quotes out as well. You'll get them on his TikTok and then get them on his Facebook. They're quite good. So my next question. I've got an idea where this area is going. Who's your favourite football player ever, and why?
So I might give you a wee bit of a shock actually this one. So I'm going to say 2. One of them's a bit of it's a cheesy one that I feel like I have to say it. Not professional in any way, shape or form, but I'm going to say my daughter.
Yes.
Because she's the one that I coach every week, and she is the one person that I probably talk to the most about football. Have watched her from when she first kicked the ball to where she's at now, playing sort of a year, 2 years up from her age level, and it's football is our thing together. So I have to say her as my favourite first, and then secondly, professionally, I'm going to say Roy Keane, which might be a little bit of a curveball, just for his impact on United during the 90s, and even to watch him now as a pundit. I mean, he's fantastic, and he's just such an easy bloke to watch. But I think his heart and soul that he put into the United team was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I've just finished his.
I've
just finished his audiobook. It's actually he's done 2 books, I'm pretty sure, and the second one I've just listened to. It was kind of after he left Man United and like him going into management and things, and he's a really down to earth guy. He's you don't realise that he comes across this hard man, and I'm no doubting he is a hard man, but he's also quite a nice guy. He used to look after the younger players a lot of the time when Man United were away on their tours and things. He wasn't really interested in going out with the players. He was away with his family. He'd get a separate villa for his family because he just wanted to be out there and have. I think he's got something like 5 or 6 kids himself, and he's always been a family man. And the last impression of Roy Keane with me is him getting hounded after the World Cup, where he's out just trying to walk his dog, and he's just a normal bloke. Leave him alone, man. Good football player, not so great manager. I think he.
Yeah, I think he's got the right ideas, isn't he? He sets high standards, which I absolutely love. But I think he's sort of struggled breaking into that management role into his Sunderland, and he's done a bit with the Irish national team, and
much better.
I think
pundit.
He sort of struggled, but
much better pundit. He's really funny. I just think him and I think is it Micah Richards, the two of them. He just he looks at him down the end of his nose sometimes, and it's just comedy gold. Okay, this is a question I've not asked for a good few episodes, and I'm glad I'm bringing it back. Have you ever met a famous footballer?
So I sort of grew up in Dumfries and Inverness, and we don't have a lot of famous anything in Dumfries and Inverness. So not really. I've met a couple of the Northern Ireland women's team. I would hazard to say I've met a couple of the Cali players when I was younger, sort of in and around the game. Went to school with the old manager's daughter, so we used to get free tickets and everything to go and watch Cali. The old assistant manager, Duncan Shearer. But not really met anyone famous. I used to I used to work with the guy Mikey Ray back in Inverness. He was sort of on the books at Rangers for a while.
Okay, yeah.
Seen an article about him recently, actually.
Is he a
And
goalkeeper?
yeah,
Yeah.
goalkeeper. Yeah, he would be a great one to get on. He'd actually big into, loves his Highland League and all that kind of stuff. So he's a big footballing man. But used to work with him in Inverness for a good while, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the closest I've got.
Oh no, it's some of the most famous people I've met are people that I've had into the studio for podcasts, mate. So I'm on the same bar as you. Don't worry. Like,
Elgin's the same, isn't it? It's
yeah,
not like,
yeah.
I'd love to come on and say, oh, I used to see Ryan Christie every week in Inverness, but
Yeah, no.
I'm about 6 years too old for him, I think. So,
like, I'm still trying to track down Colin Hendry. He's only 20 miles away, but I'm going to have to go out for a big net or something at this point because I've been trying to get him for about a year. Okay, right. Player now coaching. Si, what's your preference?
I'm gonna have to say coaching. Like, I love playing football, and there's nothing like that is fantastic. But for me, coaching, you could have had the worst day in the world, and as soon as you step on the pitch with that 16, 17, 18 players, it's like everything from the crap day just goes out the window, and it's just you, the pitch, and the players. And I think seeing the improvement in the players towards the end of the season or after a productive session, or even just putting something into practice on match day, is, I don't think you can replicate that playing yourself. You maybe learn a new skill or score a goal or whatever, but for me, I just think coaching's like, it's the best thing in the world. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you still play any fiver sides or anything like that, Si?
yeah, we've just started a wee five-a-side sort of. I gave up. I sort of hung my boots up a couple of years ago from like goalkeeping and stuff, just because hit 30, back starts to go, takes about a week to recover and all that kind of stuff. But then I do know boys that are sort of pushing towards 40 that are still playing full 11 aside and everything. But yeah, we sort of just a wee kick about now on a Tuesday night. I live next door to a 3G pitch, so I can't complain too much. We go down there once a week, sort of thing. So it's good crack and gets you out a bit of fitness and stuff. So
it does. I've got a 49-year-old in my welfare. I take an adults welfare team as well, and I've got a 49-year-old staff in there, and he's probably one of the fittest guys I've ever met in my life for 49.
Yeah.
He could outrun me, outrun half the squad, but I think some of these guys are just built a wee bit different, you know. It doesn't age is just a number, you know.
That's it. Yeah.
If I'm still going like that at 49, I am doing something right, but that's no chance of that happening. Okay, Si. If you could change something about football, what would you change?
I think this is a great question. So I've got two. I'm going to say, from a grassroots perspective, pitch availability. And I mean this from not just cost of pitches, which is astronomical, but actually just being able to get hold of a pitch to play a match on a Saturday or a Sunday is just unbelievable. But sort of on the flip side of that as well, I went for a kickabout with my wee lassie. We went out on a Saturday afternoon just to go and kick about, and we couldn't even get onto a pitch anywhere in town because even the council pitches had fences around them and they were locked up and stuff, and kids were climbing over them to just have a kickabout with their mates and everything. And I'm like, what happened to the days where you were on the pitch all from morning till night? Like, so that's my big one. That's my kind of pet peeve. And then as a sort of, I suppose, a football fan, is the cost of shirts. I mean, it's just like, you're talking £75-80 for a United top now and stuff, and that's not just United; it's across all clubs. Apart, sort of got a little bit cheaper. I got the new Stockport County top this season, and I think it was about £35-40, which is where Premier League tops were about 5 years ago. And I just think you can't expect fans to pay that kind of money. Like,
you really can't. I've brought it up a few times on here. I don't know if you're keen on this idea, but I don't see why people wouldn't be. I do believe that if you're ever a season ticket holder of a club, you should get a free home shirt with your season ticket.
100%.
I think I've said it before that the people that buy season tickets, especially your Celtic, your Rangers, your Aberdeen, all these Hearts, all these kind of teams, they're also buying a shirt for their son. They're also buying a shirt for their wife and their daughter, and that.
Yeah.
The very least you can give that guy after spending £600-700 is a shirt. You know, it's a very least.
100%.
And I think it would just be so classy of clubs to just, you know, out of the blue one year, just be like, right, for every season ticket you go, here's a shirt. You can get your name on the back of it. You can have whatever, you know, and it's going to cost the club so little, you know.
That's it, but the price they were paying in for the shirts and stuff's like it costs nothing, but it shows done it. And then even if you could even have it stitched with it, they have the stitches, don't they, for the stitching for like today, watch the Community Shield, and they have it stitched on and everything. You could even have the season stitched on there and everything, so you can you can remember it. And I think that'd be a nice touch from clubs.
I do really think that. I did hear something crazy about, I think a club only makes £8 on every shirt sold. So it just shows you how much
it goes to Adidas and Nike. And,
So it's and I think some of the these days even goes to the shirt sponsor themselves, you know, like say your main shirt sponsor. There's so many monies. We could get into money on football, and I don't want to get into it on this.
That's a huge rabbit hole to be.
Yeah, massively, mate. Okay. 1 to 11 time, Si. This is you gave me 2, so but I'm gonna go with yeah, you did bottle it. I'll go with your second one. I'll read through it and then we'll go into some players on it. So you've got Schmeichel, Roberto Carlos, Kyle Walker. Yeah. So
that hurt me, but you can't not.
Jap Stam, who I'm excited to speak about, Rio Ferdinand, Ronaldinho, David Beckham, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, Dwight York, Andy Cole. So you've got 8 out of 11 Man United players. Just a quick question, Si. Could you name me the famous 4-4-2 from the 1990-2000 season?
That's some season. That's over 10 years.
Sorry, 1999 to 2000 season.
I was going to say that. That's a long old. That's a lot of players. Like, probably not. When did Waza and that come in? That would have been.
Rooney's joined in 2003.
2004.
Yeah, so
2004. Sorry.
So you're talking your Champions League. So like Blankvist, 2 Nevilles would be in there still.
So
when did Phil Neville go to Everton?
That was about 2005, I'm pretty sure. So
was that late?
Yeah.
Jesus.
2005. Because
my memory's shocking.
Just going back to Roy Keane there, going back to his audiobook, Roy Keane before he joined Celtic was meant to go to Everton.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was meant to be his.
Yeah, he struggled at Celtic, didn't he? So it just didn't.
Yeah,
it's a shame because it would have been a nice way for him to finish out. I think would have been at Celtic, but
I'll
like injuries and age and all that kind of side of things just kind of caught up with him, didn't it? Like,
yeah. Well, he got onto. There's a famous quote in his book. He got onto a bus after a game at St Mirren, and John Hartson was sitting at the back of the bus eating a packet of salt and vinegar crisps and drinking a can of Iron Brew, and he just thought to himself, "Welcome to hell." So
it's a long way from
pretty much. But the 1990 to 2000, 1999 to 2000. Can you do the 4-4-2, Ryan?
Okay, so we've got Schmeichel, obviously.
Yeah.
Ronnie Johnson, centre back.
Johnson, yeah.
Jaap Stam, obviously.
Jaap Stam.
I'm thinking Dennis Irwin might have played more than one of the Nevilles.
He did. So he was left back.
Yeah. So
he not finished by then, no? When did he?
He finished in year 2000 because he went to Wolves after.
G Nev.
Gary Nev. Yeah.
Scholes and Keane.
Giggs
and Beckham.
Yeah.
I'm going to say York and Cole, but Sheringham or Solskjaer could have displaced one of them.
Played a part, didn't he?
Yeah. So York and Cole. So that's like a very well-known 4-4-2, quite famous. And that 4-4-2 only ever played together twice, like in the entire Man United.
Really?
Yeah. So
that wasn't for the final either, was it? In 98-99, because
no, Beckham played
Keane
centre
missed
mid.
the final, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, Beckham played centre mid. Blomqvist played, I'm pretty sure, the final as well.
Yeah, well, Scholes was
Yeah.
suspended
The
as
other
well, or something as well. I think they both got yellow cards in the Juventus game. I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Keane talked about, I think the Juventus semi-final was the best game he'd ever played, and it was actually a shock because he knew he was missing the final on that
Yeah,
yellow.
but he's still. Yeah.
I don't think that's a rule
That's
anymore.
his
I think,
character, isn't it?
yeah, I think they rescinded that rule now that anything for the final is just cancelled now. They don't have
Yeah,
any.
it's just you can still. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay,
Not to like sidestep or anything, but I just wanted to ask, Si, what are your thoughts? I know you mentioned the Community Shield earlier. I watched the second half as well. What were your thoughts on that, and what are your kind of thoughts on the current setup at United? Because I'm actually quietly optimistic for the first time in quite some time that they've done a lot of smart business, and against a team like Manchester City, even though the result ended up, going the way it went, I thought we were very good at creating chances, and it's just going to take like a clinical goal scorer to kind of get United to like a really good place this season.
Yeah, 100%. I think watching that game, we looked like the better side, and didn't think I would say that. Like, even when I was at the Liverpool United game last season when they went through to the FA Cup final, and we nicked it. Like, we were really clinical in it and we're breaking away and stuff. But then even the final, we were kind of up against it in the underdogs. But I watched that today and I thought we're standing toe to toe with these now. I know City we were missing De Bruyne for 80 minutes of it and stuff like that, but and they didn't have Stones back and Walker and all these kind of players, but it was still Pep's team, and City's big thing is their depth of squad, isn't it? I mean, they could put any 11 out and they'd be a fantastic side, and I was really impressed with where we're at. Rashford missed a couple of chances that I think once that sharpness is there and we're into the flow of the season, it should be all right. And
so every time he's got highlights in his hair, he starts missing chances, man. What do you think? Because obviously,
I think it'll be an exciting season.
Yeah, and obviously we've had
it's
quite big news today that Mazraoui and Matthias de Ligt are going to be joining at the end of the week, and obviously Wan-Bissaka's joining West Ham. I think that's personally a massive upgrade, and for the fee that they've got both those players for, I believe it is £51 million.
For both?
Yeah, for both. Yeah. It's a combined fee. I think that's like an unbelievable bit of business, and I think it's really showing
it's nice
Ineos
to see us doing good business, isn't it, for a change, because we've spent years just paying the Man United tax or the English tax, and it's, you look at, was it 80 million we paid for Maguire and stuff, and he's starting to come good, and he's sort of found a bit of form again, isn't he? But those price tags are just silly money for a centre back and stuff like that. So it's nice to see us doing some good business again.
Yeah, and I think the confidence seems to be resurfaced in the manager a little bit, considering they didn't end the season on a high, but considering where they were midpoint of last season to where they ended up, I don't think it was a disaster in the end.
I think the FA Cup saved his job, didn't it? In all honesty, I actually liked Ten Hag and thought he needed, even if we'd lost that FA Cup, it's against City, and it wouldn't have bothered me that much. But I kind of think we need to stick with a manager for a change and let them build something rather than sort of chopping and changing. And it needs time,
Yeah, I agree,
and at least now they're investing and supporting him. So
yeah, so we'll go back. Well, 8 out of your 11 is Man United. Is madness. It's absolute madness. But one of the players I'm really excited to speak about, because I don't think we spoke about him much. You possibly had him in your 11, Ryan. I'd have to look back on that. Is Jaap Stam. Just the absolute unit of Jaap Stam, because I remember him being a bit like Schmeichel and screaming at players and a bit scary.
Yeah, big aggressive.
But I think, did Ferguson not say he was the biggest regret was selling Jaap Stam, and he felt
he wasn't there for that long actually. And he's almost like an icon anyway, isn't he? Just because at United, but he wasn't actually there for, was it less than 2 years or something daft? It wasn't a long time, so.
And he went on to play in a really successful AC Milan team. I don't think Man U got the best out of him. I think AC Milan actually got the best out of him. I think he was one of these players that possibly just crossed Fergie, and just, you know what happens when you cross Fergie, you're out the door. It was only Rooney.
Well,
it was only ever Rooney that got round that, wasn't it?
And that was really because he was retiring at the time as well, wasn't it? I know he did the thing before. I mean, he tried to join Rivals a bunch of times, didn't he? Looking back on it, but we'll leave that out. Let's just remember the good times.
Okay, Kyle Walker, you've got in there, Si. Now, that's an interesting one, mate.
I didn't think I'd ever put anything from the blue side of Manchester on there, but I mean, I was thinking about left backs, and obviously I thought about Uniteds and stuff, and sort of looking about, and I was like, there's nobody that springs to mind other than Walker. I just think the things he's doing at City is fantastic. Like, so, his pace and everything, and I just think it was a wee bit of almost like a no-brainer. It wasn't a no-brainer because I didn't want to put a City player on there, but I wanted to show that I was unbiased. There you go.
And I think that there's been questions of him, is he getting on a bit and that, and then I think his recent form in the last 2 seasons has just shown that he's far from getting on.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at him and you think, he must be getting older at some point, and then he's going toe to toe with Rashford, who's absolutely rapid down the left, and he's just he's still got it, and he's still got the pace and stuff. So,
and I'm sure he won when they played France. He won every single duel with Mbappe, and Mbappe's seen as one of the quickest players in the world.
Yeah,
and a lot of the time, like I was explaining,
but then so did Wan-Bissaka. So.
Well, this is true. This is true. He's just a unit, though. I think you should play him at centre back. He's not a right back. He's
gone. He's gone to West Ham.
Yeah, I know, but I think he's been played out of position for the last 2 seasons. He's got to be
one of the best in the world, 1v1, isn't he?
Yeah. There's no doubting about that. But his positional sense in that is just horrendous.
Going forward and stuff. It's just not a part of his game, is it? And you can see he was trying to work on it and build it and stuff, but it's just not at the level I think that United need. I think he'll do really well at West. Was it West Brom he's gone to? Or
West Ham.
West Ham.
Yeah.
We've also just signed John Clare Todibo as well. I've just seen on my phone.
Oh, from
Nice.
Nice, sorry. Yeah. Centre back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct.
Very good player. Very good player. One of the questions I'm going to ask you about your 11 side is why no Ryan Giggs? He wasn't in either of your 11s.
It's a good question. I did, he's mainly not on there because I had that many United players on there, and he was the sort of. Don't get me wrong, he's given me some fantastic moments, and I used to love watching him belt down the wing. And I think what he did in football and how old he was, because he played. He must have been close to 40, if not 40.
He was 41, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Because he was doing his yoga and all that kind of stuff, and I think he was just an absolute all-round athlete. But I don't know. There's just always something that niggled that says, "No, don't put him in there." Yeah. Probably sleeping with his brother's wife or whatever it was.
Probably something to do with that. Yeah.
there's got to be some character in there as well, isn't there? So.
To be fair, up until that point in his career, he was seen as quite a boring guy, wasn't he? He was just like
and then just knocked out of the park.
Yeah, got to do something. Rio Ferdinand, one of the probably, I'd say, top 3 centre backs in Premier League history. I'd put him up there with John Terry, and I'd put him up there with Sol Campbell. I can't really
another great centre back.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone. Tony Adams maybe in the early days, but that was about it.
Yeah. He was sort of one of the first of the kind of sort of ball playing centre backs when he liked to use his feet and keep the ball with him and stuff. And I think that's probably the main reason he's in there, is he likes to. He was the start of that change, wasn't he, with centre backs and stuff, getting more involved in the game and not just being the big 6 foot whatever kind of brick wall at the back.
Mm-hmm. He was, I think, up until about 17, he was a centre midfielder, so it probably helped him quite a lot mould into that centre back.
Yeah.
But I think after the age of 16 or 17, he just kept growing, and you can't have someone 6'5" in the centre of midfield. It's only really Patrick Vieira that can do that, and he's a one of a kind.
I think that makes a huge difference, doesn't it? When you look at, like, say, McTominay, when he was younger, he was a striker, and then he'd sort of dropped back. He was playing centre back for Scotland, wasn't he, for a while?
Yeah, he was.
Sort of defensive midfield for United, and then all of a sudden he starts banging these goals in for United, and then he starts doing it for Scotland as well. And you're like, where's this coming from? Like, and it's because he spent that time as a striker, like so.
Yeah.
Speaking of Wan-Bissaka earlier, do you know that his first position at the Crystal Palace Academy was as a winger?
I don't believe that for a
Oh,
second. No,
apparently
that's why
so.
he's right back now.
I'm interested to see who that scout was that decided that to begin with.
Wow.
I know, yeah.
It's mad. Like, even one of my most recent guests, Mo Morrison, he played Highland League and played for Elgin City for 20 odd years. He was in the semi-professional game, and he started off as a striker and he played striker up until he was 16, 17. Moved back into midfield and then became one of the great Highland League centre backs, you know. And it's just like it's mad how these things work. York and Cole, I'm excited to speak about these two because I've not had these two on an 11 yet. I think they're massively underrated. I think they're better than Sutton and Shearer, because Sutton and Shearer were doing it at a time where they were playing against centre defences weren't the greatest. York and Cole were doing this against likes of Tony Adams, likes of Sol Campbell, you know, likes of Desai at Chelsea, and, you know, like world-class baller, proper centre backs, you know. Do you have a favourite out of the two? Because mine was always York.
I must admit, it was always York. My sister always preferred Andy Cole. I don't know why. She was never into football. I don't know what it was, but I always preferred Yorkie because I feel like he was the final piece of the puzzle. Yeah. When he joined, it was like he unlocked Andy Cole, and the two of them were just an absolute joy to watch. The chemistry that they had was even like watch something with them. I think it was on the Overlap or something where they had Andy Cole on, and just hearing them talk about the partnership and everything was like the chemistry they had was unbelievable. Like,
yeah. Do you have a favourite, Ryan?
You know what? I always think Andy Cole kind of gets a bit kind of underrated and kind of put on a shelf a little bit, because the thing is, like, Dwight York was definitely the more kind of marketable and had the more notable moments. Like, I think of like the hat trick against Arsenal and that 6-1 and that. The one that always stands out to me, I can't remember. It's the combination at the Camp Nou in '99. I can't remember who finishes it, but they're both heavily involved, and that just like epitomised that kind of strike partnership for me. So that would be the moment. I think it was Dwight York that scored it. So apologies to Andy Cole for trying to defend you there and then bringing up another Dwight York goal. But yeah, that would probably be the one that's. But out of the two of them, I did enjoy Andy Cole. If you look at his goal record in the Premier League in general, it's ridiculous. It never gets talked about.
No, I think he's maybe top. He's within the top 5. But for years and years until Rooney's number 2 just now, it was Alan Shearer with 260, and then I think Cole's got over 200. I'm pretty sure he has. And a lot of them were for Newcastle, quite a few for Blackburn and teams like that as well. Yeah. So it wasn't just Man United. He was bagging them in all over the place.
He did it. He did it everywhere, didn't he? Like,
And people forget that he started off at Arsenal. You know, he was started off at Arsenal, didn't make it at Arsenal. He was an understudy at Ian Wright, didn't work out. He went to Bristol City, I think it was, and just kind of cut his cloth in the lower leagues, and then he was picked up by Newcastle from there. And then towards the end of his career, I don't know if you remember, he went by Andrew Cole for a couple of years. He changed his name from Andy to Andrew. Yeah, he did.
I don't remember that.
Started playing for like Fulham and Manchester City and stuff like that as well towards the end.
Yeah, Andrew Cole. So good player.
Also had a rap song, didn't he, in the 90s?
Oh my God, wow! You've just blown my brain. I totally forgot about that. He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
See if that wasn't copyrighted, we could have played out the episode with that, mate.
It's only 30 years more until we can use it as public domain work.
Just a side note for the for the two of you, out of the 4, out of York, Cole, Solskjaer and Sheringham, who do you think on their day was the best striker?
Strike of the ball.
I'll give you, on my day, I think Solskjaer was the best out of the 4 of them. Like, if he was in the right form, he was lethal.
Yeah, he was just always in the right place at the right time, when and he would score those scrappy, just get anything on it kind of goals.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you need from a striker, isn't it? Like, you want them like that fox in the box type thing. Yeah.
In fact, let me change the question. If you only could have one of them in your team, which one would it be?
Probably would be Solskjaer if you were going for one. Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, I'd probably go the same. Plus, he scored the most famous goal in like the club's history, didn't he? So it's hard not to. You know what I mean?
He did, mate.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get on to the last question, Si, I'm just going to let you speak a little bit about Stockport County, because I didn't do any research for this. You're a Stockport County fan. You mentioned him a little bit earlier on. Just tell us a little bit about your association with him, and like, do you obviously follow the results and that? Do you get to games of that at all? Have you been to games before? And
No, so my first ever football game was at Edgeley Park, which is Stockport County's ground. Sort of followed them because my dad was such a big United fan, and I brought a Man City scarf into the house at one point, just because I was at that age where I was rebelling and I was trying to, I don't know, just piss him off at some point. Yeah, so Stockport County was my first game at Edgeley Park, and then sort of followed them all the way through. They were what was Division 1, I believe at the time, and then sort of fell off from grace over a few years, ended up sort of right down. And they've been part of this story now with Wrexham, where obviously Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are pumping money into Wrexham, but Stockport are kind of matching them blow for blow with it, but doing it, I don't want to say the right way. Wrexham are obviously doing good business and doing well and stuff, but they've got the money behind them in the back end, and it's great to see Stockport sort of doing the same and going on that journey.
Yeah.
They're almost like the underdogs of the two stories, but then won the league last year and everything. So yeah, I've always just sort of not avidly followed them, but I always keep an eye on the results and follow the story and stuff. And
Brilliant, mate. Okay, I'm going to do my little thing for how people can find us and all that. What is the word for that, Ryan? Is there a word?
Just your socials and that.
Socials.
Having it as like where they can find us is like trying to give the address away, which I wouldn't recommend. So.
No. I'm not telling you where we actually are. But if you're enjoying our podcast, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. You can find us on TikTok for our clips. You can, if you're enjoying it and you want to support us, you can follow. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/football journals. So I'd just like to say a thank you to a couple of people. We've got one coffee bought from Chris Saunderson, so thank you very much, Chris. Do appreciate it. We've got 3 coffees bought from my sister Erin. So thank you very much, Erin. And we've got 3 coffees bought from Emily, who's actually my cousin. So it's a family theme tonight. And then I've also got one from an anonymous. So thank you very much to them. Everyone, it does really help. We're hoping to try and push this on. We're coming up for the first birthday of the Football Journals, so in 2 episodes time it will be the first birthday of the Football Journals. Me and Ryan are going to do a special little episode for that, just kind of looking back on the last year and looking forward to the next year. And if you're enjoying what we do, leave us a little like and rating on Spotify. We've got 150 followers and we're only on 35 ratings.
Video episodes are now up on YouTube as well.
Video episodes are now up on YouTube. I totally messed up the premiere thing last Saturday because Ryan's a tech guy and I'm just the guy that asks the questions, but I messed that up completely last Saturday, but you still got your video episode on Monday, which was good. Okay, Si, thank you very much for your time, mate. I'd really appreciate it. Connection has actually been fantastic tonight. It's been really good.
Yeah.
Things have worked out. It'll be you're actually my trial run for these things, so I can now connect to pretty much anyone. So Henrik Larsson, if you're listening, I would like to speak to you, please. Okay, so
get that viral, get him on.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. If you like, if you want coaching videos, you want even just advice videos, things like that, check out Si on all the socials. I really recommend is TikTok though, because it's like this guy knows how to create TikTok videos. I need to find somebody that can do this for me. Last,
What are you trying to say?
no, but like you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I need like it's like I said to my missus. I says I need someone that can like take this and just make it TikTok-y, if that sounds, and so people know what I mean by that, and it's just
totally get it. Yeah. TikTok's been such a strange one. It's the one that like the players come up to, oh, I seen you on TikTok today, and even the FedEx guy at work in Belfast was like, I thought I recognised you, and I'm like, like, what's he gonna say here? Like, but it just goes to like the most random places ever. So
it does
definitely get TikTok going.
It does, and you'll be like me. Well, you'll be even more than me, because every time I open up my TikTok and it's like I've got 3 new friends and I've got 6 new comments and I've got 12 new love hearts, but yours is bound to be 10 times that, mate, because you've got like 20,000 followers on there or something like that, you know.
35.
35. There you go. Even more. You've got 20,000. You get 20,000 on Facebook as well. So that's mad.
It does go a bit. Getting through the comments and everything, it gets me in trouble with the wife, because it is a lot of it's interesting stuff, and it's great to see everyone's opinion, and but the wife doesn't agree. So
no. Well done to you, and good luck to you with the future with it, Si. My last question is always the same. If you had a penalty that you scored to save your life, who takes the penalty?
I'm going to go a bit more recent. I'm going to go Bruno Fernandes. He scored one today, which is quite fitting. I think he's at like a 90%. He's like 4th or 5th, sort of all-time penalty takers. So I'll take that. I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's possibly the first.
Who's yours, Lee?
Who's mine?
Switch card right there.
Oh. Right, I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a really random one. My penalty taker is Andy Brema. Do you know who that is? So he scored the winning penalty in the 1990 World Cup final, 1-0 Germany. But he is an ambidextrous player, and he is naturally right-footed, but he scored the winner in the World Cup final with his left.
Nice.
Just because he could.
Here's a question for you. What foot does Haaland use?
He's left.
Erling Haaland. Is he left-footed?
He's left-footed.
See, when he stepped up for a penalty today, and I was like, I just didn't know that he was left-footed. I was like, is he taking the mickey here?
No, he's left-footed.
His left.
They say all the best players in the world are lefties, aren't they? You know, and it's like you're bound to notice that yourself. Do you notice that side? Like sometimes when a player sticks out, generally a lefty, and
it's quite common. I love switching them about, Joe. Like they sort of come in and just assume that they're going to play off the left because they're a left footer and stuff, and I'm like, nope, get over on the right. Like you're going to play off both sides whether you like it or not.
Quite right, mate. Quite right. Coach them the right way, as you do, mate. Okay, thank you, mate. We'll speak to you soon. Okay.
Thanks very much, Lee. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, pal. Catch up with you later on. Thank you.